And record here. We are recording and boom. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to AC23, the radio show / podcast of the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. My name is Chancellor xero Skidmore. My producer is Jeremy Porcine, and Jonathan Grimes is my chiropractor. As always, you can stream previous episodes via the Arts Council website, artsbr.org. You can also stream us on Apple Podcasts, and when you do, give us 5 stars. If you don't think we deserve 5 stars, go ahead and give us 5 stars and don't tell nobody. And thank you. So right now, our country is in the grips of COVID-19, which is causing record unemployment and personal debt. People are protesting in the streets in response to the murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and all of those that came before them. And we have Tropical Storm Cristobal moving through the Gulf of Mexico. Needless to say, there are a lot of serious events taking place for us all at once. This is on top of the many struggles that are just usually included in the struggle to exist as a human in this world. I myself am overdue for a session with my therapist. I'm hoping I'll be able to go see my doctor for my annual checkup, which is right around the corner. I'm worried about my kids, my mom, my neighbors, and coworkers. And I have to say, I've grown a little impatient with things I come across on social media that just seem a little trivial right now. I know that laughter is great therapy, but we also struggle with where the line is drawn for insensitivity and appropriateness. My guest today, my friend Howard Hall. He's a veteran stand-up comic, writer, radio, television, live event host, voiceover talent, graphic designer. I think he's done some modeling, possibly some life coaching. I can see a cooking show in his future, maybe. And the list goes on and on. He's super talented, super smart, and super funny. Howard Hall, welcome to AC23.
Man, what's going on, man? How you doing, man?
Everything is going on, Howard.
Everything is. It is.
as you can hear. Like
when you was running the list, I was like, oh wow, all of that is going on right now.
All of that is going on right now, right? And we still have to function. You know, we can't. I know some days I just want to curl up in a ball and somebody poke me with a stick when it's all over. You know. But yeah, we can't do that.
No. I feel like you do when you say like I haven't spoken to my therapist in about 3 months. I need to go speak.
Yeah.
Like, I do. Like we need to decompress. Like I actually wrote this in my book. I'm gonna make it a shirt. I don't know if it's a shirt yet, but I gotta do it. But it's literally like it's a black shirt and it's gonna say CTSD because that's what we're dealing with. We got current traumatic stress disorder.
There you go. That's brilliant. That is spot on, man.
It's spot on.
So yeah, man, I think that obviously, I've been asking artists, like how this quarantine has affected them as artists, as people who create art. And I know that you're an avid writer. I remember having a conversation with you one time, and you talked about just getting up every morning and writing jokes. As an exercise, but also as a way to write jokes.
As a way to write jokes.
But yeah, I guess I've talked to people who are dancers and musicians, and I realized the other day I haven't talked to any comics. Wow. And I'm like, damn, like how do you, in this moment in time, continue to be a comic, continue to be someone who makes their living by getting other people to laugh?
Oh man, like the one thing that I will say that us comedians are doing is first of all, we stay current. You got to stay in the moment, like especially in a moment like this, like given the times with all the protests that we have. And given the death of George Floyd and everything, and what's that's brought about. As a comedian, I'm black first, and then I'm a comedian. And I'm a black father, so I have black sons. So I have to stay in this moment. So I had to be present, and I had to give it, some time. But after that, we can also, give you social commentary. We can find the funny in some very horrible stuff. Now, the challenging part is that you write this stuff, but when do you bring it out? When do you present it? How do you present it? That's a little bit more delicate. It all depends on how savvy your writing is, or how savvy your joke telling is, or your sketch writing. It all depends on are you bringing alarm to it? Are you really trying to be funny? Do you really want people to be subjective about your comedy? And like, let me get to the point before you get all up in arms when I'm giving you the premise. So it's a tough climate, but it can be navigated. It can be navigated.
And I think with you, Howard, because I'm so familiar with your work, I think there's a level of care in your work. I know that you're very active in your church. And I know that for you, you're not just someone who loves the art form, but you love your audience. I've always gotten that from you. It's like your work, doing the opening monologues for the Funkin' with Friends shows. It's just, I've never seen anything like mean-spirited in any of your work.
Now, I like to come from a place of like, fun comes from a great place. It comes from a fun place. Like, I can go dark. I can speak about dark times, but like, that's not where my comedy originates from. So, like, I want to laugh with you while you are laughing as well. Like, I don't want to be the butt of the joke. Now, if I am, I can also laugh at myself, but I want to laugh as well. I want to laugh with all of you. So the best way I could do that is with positive stuff and positive energy.
So your gift was kind of recognized out of necessity. As I recall, the story was you were doing a talent show when you were in college.
Yes, bruh.
Could you tell that story real quick? Give me the abridged version, Howard.
I'll give you the abbreviated version. I was in college at McNeese State University, staying in the dorm, Burton Hall, and they had a talent show. My friend of mine was rapping. I was gonna be his hype man and rap with him, you know what I'm saying? And everybody dropped out, and it was like, "How you want to do something?" I was like, "Yeah." And I ended up doing comedy for 2 hours, and I was like,
now, when you say everybody dropped out, you're not talking about out of school. You're talking about
no. They dropped out the talent show. They saw how many people was in that audience and was like, "Nah, I'm good." I was like, "It's everybody that lives with you. How could you be scared of that?" Like,
and so no material prepared. How long of a set did you do?
I did 2 hours. I did like an hour and 15, and then I took a break, and then I did another 45 minutes. I had no idea what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure it was horrible, Xero. I know it was horrible. Like, if I watched it now, it's probably like scratching nails on a chalkboard. Like, I wouldn't.
I mean, we all cringe when we go back and look at our early stuff, but
early. That's first, Xero. Like, that ain't even early.
I know, but you can only judge it by comparing it to somebody else's first.
You're right. You know what?
And when you do that, you probably had one of the greatest firsts ever.
You know what? Now that you made me feel better about my first time on stage. Bet. I never thought about it like that.
So you being a professional, right? Like you've studied this, and I know you studied this. Me and you have had a lot of conversations about like some of our favorite comedians and sketch artists. You've studied this, and I think that you have because you've studied it, you have an idea of where an audience generally is. I think we're seeing a lot of people lose their jobs right now. Which we always do, right, throughout the times, but especially in times like this where there are a lot of controversial arguments going on out there. We see people, something that was probably covered in the corporate handbook, but they're, they post some things and then they say, "Oh, well, it was a joke," it was meant to be satire. And people, "Oh, I was being ironic," or "I was being," they might say that I was, I can't even find the word for it right now, but there's a lot of these literary terms they try to connect to the humor that they were aiming for, right? Yeah. I mean, like, what's a good rule of thumb, Howard, as a professional, for like when you type something and then you go back and read it? Like, what's a good rule of thumb for like, should I post this or should I delete this?
Good rule of thumb is, first of all, know your audience. if your audience is going to be the world, you might want to reread what you're typing.
And that's the World Wide Web.
Yeah, exactly. Like reread what you. If this ain't going to a selected group of people that are like-minded, that know where you're coming from, then you might want to reread your post.
And I think that, and that's I think that's fine. I think that regardless of what the tone of it, if you're sending this to people that you have a relationship with and you're really, really, really secure in the fact that they're not going to be offended by it. I mean, look, I can't police that, you know.
Right. That's called an inside joke. That's what I feel.
Right, and that's how we bond as human beings, right? With like, you know, we use inappropriate language around each other, and we call each other these you know, names sometimes that we wouldn't let people call us on the street. That's how we bond, right?
Right.
And so consider your audience. I think that's some good advice for y'all out there who are newly unemployed.
Hey, you know what else is bad that they do? It's like after they make that terrible meme or terrible post and they drop it and they say it's a joke or satirical. The bad part is like you haven't set yourself up in that space to be satirical. Like all your posts, all your stuff has been serious.
Right.
So now you post this and now you're like, oh, it was a joke. Out of all 900 posts you had,
right,
you told 2 jokes and 2 of them racist.
Right. Or yeah, I think that, you know, if your tone is not a sarcastic tone, and you say you meant as sarcasm, it's kind of hard for people to buy it because sarcasm is delivered with a certain almost over-the-top deadpan tone most of the time.
Yes, and it takes a type of finesse in order to get it to where it's funny. And if you don't know how to navigate that, it's just gonna
leave it alone. So, what is too sacred to joke about?
Nothing. Really nothing. I hate to say it, like I know people be like, something has to be off limits. No, it's not.
Well, it's kind of like asking a poet, what would you not write a poem about?
Exactly, like
a poem about anything.
Anything. And but like you said, like we talked about it earlier, like you could talk about anything, no topic is off limits. And that doesn't and that's for any comedian. That's for male, female, black, white, like Native American, Indian, it don't matter. Like you can talk about anything. You just need to know how to do it.
Yeah, I think some of the terms that we throw around. I remember there were some students of mine who said they were going to do their senior prank. I was like, okay, cool. What's your senior prank? Well, we're coming back to the school after hours, and we're gonna kick in some windows, and we're gonna spray paint all over the. I was like, that's not what a prank is. a prank is funny. This is funny, you know. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's
property damage. That's
not funny. Yes, that's property damage, and so I think that. I think we failed as a society to kind of have a common understanding of some of these terms and some of these ideas of like when and how to make a joke and what is meanness, what is cruelty in humor, and why that just saying that it's a joke doesn't excuse it. If there's cruel intent,
right?
So how do we get around that? Like, how do we educate people on like what is satire, what is parody, right?
See, this is the thing. I truly don't believe that you need to school people on what is satire, what is a joke. You know that from the moment you born, you know what's funny and you know what's not. You know what made you feel a certain way and you know what made you laugh. You know that from 3-4 years old. As you start developing as a human being, you know how to navigate those. It's nobody over the age of 18 that knows the difference between satire and he really meant that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now the dope part about this is where I get cynical a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that there's some people out there that don't like Black people.
Yeah.
I even know some of them personally.
Yeah.
I love how they navigate that space of being around something that they don't like. They can do it. Like, it's for them, like, if you can do that in a personal setting, if you can do that like every day of your life, then you know that joke that you gonna post was wrong.
And yeah, I think that this is that's living in a civilization with people who are different, right? It's like, okay, well, I don't like these different people. Well, okay, but that doesn't mean that you have to insult them or treat them differently or not treat them fairly.
Right.
You keep your preference, you keep your bias to yourself and go along with your life and try to be a good person to everybody. Because yeah, I think that quite often we focus on people's personal biases and we don't it causes us to overlook the systemic biases, because
Right.
systems don't have opinions. Like, systems can be changed. Like,
Yeah.
if there are laws and practices that are unfair, then all we got to do is open up the books and go in there and delete those unfair laws and practices. Like, they're not people.
Right.
And so I think that I can't police anybody's biases, but we can work on the systemic change that needs to happen. And I think that, yeah, I mean, I've seen some things that have been hurtful to me as a Black man on social media. And, I go on and read the next day, oh yeah, well, that person said it was a joke. And of course, the next day that person's employer has let them go. And that's when the funny part comes in for me. That's the part where I laugh. That's the real punchline. But I think that, like, also, like, I've typed certain things and I went back and read and I was like, I don't want to, that's a little too close to me getting fired, or, it's like, because there's a World Wide Web, everybody's going to see it. And
everybody's going to see it, man.
Yeah. And even not in the sense of me losing my job, but in the sense of, maybe I'm in a bad place right now. I don't want to immortalize this post because I'm having a bad day or
a bad day.
Yeah. I'm really frustrated right now. It's kind of like I've been on the brink of maybe rioting virtually, and
oh my God. I never thought about it that way.
That's gonna be immortalized forever somewhere on the internet, and so yeah, I pause and take a breath, and yeah, there have been some times I've gone back and deleted some stuff, but yeah, I think that you're exactly right when you say we're born, we know what's funny. Kids know what's funny. I got 2 sons, so any fart that happens in this house that's a punchline in and of itself. They're giggling, it's like, that's it. It's the funniest thing in their lives. That's the funniest thing you could ever do with your life, is pass gas. And I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and but yeah, I think I'm trying to make sure that when my 4-year-old is like playing with my 2-year-old, he's not like teasing him in a cruel way.
Right.
And he's trying to learn what that's all about.
But one thing I will say that is kind of trippy. Like, you gotta. I feel like people's professions, the ones that should be in danger of their professions, is people who are in a position that are over people or hiring.
Yeah.
Like, if you show where your bias is online to the World Wide Web, and you're in a position where you actually see candidates for positions, and you have to make a decision depending on their merits or whatever you're making that decision with, you got to understand that people are going to have an opinion saying that you might be using racial bias in order to hire certain people and not hire certain people because of what you posted online. And that's why I think people need to be more conscious of. Like, if you got a job that has nothing to do with customer contact or hiring
or taking care of people.
yeah, or taking care of people, like, then yes, you can do you. Like, but if you in one of those positions, you got to watch out. You got to be careful.
And I think we get a lot of pushback from people who say, well, you know, you're trying to force political correctness on me. And yeah, it's just kind of weird. It's like that. We used to just call that consideration. Like,
Yeah, that's all it was.
just you know, you can just be a considerate
What was
person.
it
Like
called,
that's not.
Zero? It was just called consideration.
And I can't police that. But of course, if you're like extremely inconsiderate to the people you're addressing or talking about, and you know that those people can see it and you're being extremely inconsiderate, then you have to deal with the repercussions. And that's, you know, just like you're free to say what you want to say. People are free to have an opinion about what you said. And look how free we all are now, you know?
That is true.
Yeah. And so I think that, you know, someone was talking about cancel culture the other day, and they were like, you know, that's the name we put on it now, but you know, it used to just be, oh yeah, well, he did something that forced him to lose some business. It's like,
you got fired.
Yeah, you know, or people stop going to your shop, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, yeah, it's a great conversation, Howard. I wish we had much more time.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to have you back, and yeah, we need to have these conversations more often.
Yeah, I want to. Don't mind my dog. He's trying to get out, and I'm not letting him.
As you know, dog can't be free sometimes. You know,
I know.
You gotta accept that.
Don't do that. Come here.
Your dog protesting. Well, Howard, thank you so much, brother, for talking to me today. Thank you for coming on AC23, and we're gonna chop it up soon, man.
Hey, look, I'm always a friend and a family member of the Arts Council. You already know what it is, man. Yes, I appreciate it, Zero, man. Thank you. Look forward to doing much bigger and better things with you, man, in the future, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Howard. Peace.
All right, man.